Welcome back, viewers, to the latest researches and news. Currently, we have the latest reports about the ongoing conflict in Ethiopia. Viewers, while Kobo remains under Ethiopian National Defense Force control for now, credible sources say the force is quietly building up strength further south in Weldiya and Kobo and taking up new high ground positions on Zobel mountain. At the same time, the Tigray Defense Force is calling on the region's youth to join its ranks. More Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers are reportedly surrendering, and new footage has emerged showing a homemade rocket launcher in action. Let's break down everything piece by piece. According to the latest reports from credible sources, the Ethiopian National Defense Force is now strengthening its positions in Weldiya and Kobo. Kobo itself is still under Ethiopian National Defense Force control, but according to sources, mobilization is now being observed toward Weldiya. Reinforcing rear positions like Weldiya and Kobo while still holding Kobo suggests the Ethiopian National Defense Force is not planning to abandon the front, but rather building a layered defense, keeping Kobo as a forward position, while making sure it has a strong fallback line behind it in case Kobo comes under heavier pressure. Weldiya is a major town in the North Wulo zone of Amhara region, and it sits directly on the same A2 highway that runs through Kobo, connecting further south toward Dessie and eventually Addis Ababa. This makes Weldiya a critical logistics and command hub. If Kobo is ever lost, Weldiya would be the next major point of resistance along this same route. As we told you in yesterday's video, the Ethiopian National Defense Force is deploying its fighters from Bure toward the Zobel Mountain Highland Park. According to the latest reports, the Ethiopian National Defense Force is now reinforcing its troops on Zobel Mountain specifically to defend the A2 highway and Kobo. Zobel Mountain is located near Kobo along the A2 highway close to the Amhara-Afar regional border inside Amhara region. The Ethiopian National Defense Force wants to hold this position here in order to maintain control over the A2 highway. High ground like Zobel Mountain gives whoever holds it a major advantage, better visibility over the surrounding lowlands, better positions for artillery and observation, and a harder target for an advancing force to dislodge compared to flat terrain. Zobel Mountain's location near the Amhara-Afar border, right alongside the A2 highway, makes it a natural choke point. Controlling it means the Ethiopian National Defense Force can watch over both the highway traffic between Kobo and the south and movement coming from the direction of Afar, effectively covering two directions from a single position. Apart from this, leaders of the Tigray Defense Force are issuing a call to the youth of Tigray, urging them to join the Tigray Defense Force and play their part in defending Tigray. Reportedly, a large number of people are now being recruited across the Tigray region. A public call to youth for recruitment is usually a sign that a force is preparing to expand its numbers ahead of expected fighting. Rather than simply maintaining current troop levels, this fits with the broader picture we've been covering of both sides reinforcing positions along multiple fronts. Framing this as defending Tigray, rather than simply joining an armed group, is a common way to appeal to a sense of regional identity and agency, which tends to be more effective in driving large-scale recruitment than a purely military appeal would be. Apart from this, in a previous video we shared an update that Amhara Fano claimed to have surrounded and trapped dozens of Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers in one area during recent fighting. Now, according to reports from Tigray Defense Force sources, Ethiopian soldiers have surrendered to the Tigray Defense Force. An image has also been shared showing 3 Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers who surrendered, seen wearing Ethiopian National Defense Force uniforms, with their weapons still visible beside them. According to the Tigray Defense Force, these soldiers surrendered to their forces. It's worth being clear that this claim is currently coming only from Tigray Defense Force sources, and like the final claims about trapped soldiers we mentioned earlier, it has not been independently confirmed by the Ethiopian National Defense Force or any neutral party. If accurate, this would connect directly to the earlier final claim about soldiers being surrounded troops with no way to retreat and no reinforcements arriving often end up surrendering rather than fighting to the last, which would be consistent with both reports pointing to the same underlying situation. Apart from this, a short video has been shared by the Tigray Defense Force, showing its fighters firing what is described as an improvised rocket launcher belonging to the Tigray Defense Force during an operation. According to the statement in some categories, this improvised weapon reportedly outperforms many rocket launches from the Cold War era. Improvised generally means the weapon was locally built or modified rather than factory manufactured, often assembled using available parts and materials adapted for combat use rather than a mass-produced military-grade system. Claiming that a homemade weapon outperforms Cold War-era rocket launchers is very likely intended to project strength and technical capability to a domestic and international audience, showing that the Tigray Defense Force isn't only relying on captured or foreign supplied weapons, but is also developing its own equipment. As with performance claims from any side in an active conflict, this specific comparison should be treated as an unverified claim rather than a confirmed technical assessment. So to summarize today's developments, the Ethiopian National Defense Force is reinforcing Weldiya, Kobo, and Zobel Mountain to protect the A2 highway and its hold on Kobo. The Tigray Defense Force is actively recruiting youth across the region. More Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers are reportedly surrendering, and new footage shows the Tigray Defense Force's own improvised weaponry in use. As always, several of today's claims, the surrenders, and the weapons performance are currently one-sided and unverified. So we're presenting them with that context in mind. We'll keep following every front for you. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next update.